Good morning. Good morning. A very special morning for many. Good morning. Happy Easter. Happy Passover. Happy everything. Happy day of connection in whatever way that you connect to that which is most precious, most meaningful, most life-giving. That which gives us the ability to wake up with our eyes open wide and our heart open wide and feeling delighted for the gift of another day. There's many other ways we often feel. We feel, oh no, another day, another week, another problem, another time of loneliness. Certainly, these days, with all the separation and the division, there is the experience of loneliness, remembering holidays, remembering other holidays, which were so beautiful. Because why were they so beautiful? Because we were together with those we loved, with those we were close to. We were together. We were all together sharing an experience, which of course makes that experience so much more intense and beautiful. It was the union of our hearts that made the day beautiful. Maybe we were spending the day swimming or planting in a garden, also beautiful. Connection. It's the connection between one another, the valuing of one another, the seeing one another as a reflection of that which is really, really important and precious in our lives. Very important to recognize this and to go further and ask the question, how do we keep it going? How do we stay connected? How do we feel that oneness, that unity, rather than the loneliness and the meaninglessness often and the separation? And I want to talk to you a little bit about what's also called an I-thou relationship. This is from a great teacher, Martin Buber, beautiful, beautiful person. We spoke about him a little earlier in one of our talks. And he very much he spent his life after a certain experience really just devoting himself to being available, to being present for that true connection between all of us. And when he talks about an I-thou relationship, very beautiful, I-thou, as opposed to an I-it relationship. Now, an I-it relationship is when we make someone into an object, which is, we don't do it consciously, but we look at them as an object. Are they going to meet my needs? Are they going to give me what I want? Are they going to make me happy? They make me happy. It's about me. And the other person becomes an object to fulfill our needs. And when we give to them, it's a form of transaction, of barter. I'll give you this, you give me that, and it'll work out. But it doesn't really work out when we view someone else that way because they change, we change. No person can meet our needs the way we want them to. It doesn't happen. So we get disappointed, we reject them, we look for someone else in that same frame, the I-it frame. Because you know why they can't meet our needs? Because our real need is for that really true I-thou connection, the connection which is beyond somebody meeting my needs. It's a connection of our spirit. It's a big connection between who we are essentially. It's that kind of communication that even turns into what you might call communion. It's communication that just flows. Even if we don't say a word. Sometimes we see someone and, oh my goodness, we may not even know them, but there is this bond that arrives so that we feel the union. Let me tell you a little story that Martin Buber told, which I always return to because it touched me so much, this story, and because I understand it. This is such a wonderful story. He was on a train going somewhere and those days they had newspapers, actually physical newspapers, not the telephone. Actually, the telephone now, our phones, we also use them to hide from others all the time, just all the time. But in those days, excuse me, he was on the train going somewhere with his newspaper, and there was a stranger sitting next to him. I love that because who's really a stranger? I mean, and well, when we think of someone as a stranger, we disconnect, we don't know them, we hide from them. And anyway, he'd never seen the man before, but he thought of him as a stranger. And he held up his newspaper. He was busy reading the newspaper as the train took off, and the man was holding up his newspaper. They were both busy reading their newspapers. Nothing wrong with that. That's very normal going on a train ride. You don't know the person next to you. You're reading your newspaper. But in a sense, I always had this image of the two of them hiding from each other behind the newspaper. They were reading their newspapers. And suddenly, Buber said, communication began to stream between them. Mm. Isn't that something, a beautiful way of putting it? They didn't know each other. They were reading their newspapers, but this connection, communication began to stream between them. They weren't talking, looking at each other. Where was it coming from? And they both felt as if they knew everything about the other. And Boobers began crying. There was such a sense of love, of oneness, of connection between him and the so-called stranger. Wow. Where did this communication come from? And we've all had an experience similar to that. All of a sudden, something streams between us and another. We could call it connection, communication, knowing, touching each other, touching our hearts. There's such a feeling of oneness and closeness. Although he knew nothing about the man and they hadn't said a word. That is an I-thou relationship where communication just happens, it streams. We're not really hiding from the person or from ourselves. Something is opening up in our heart. And we're allowing that person in, and also we're sharing who we are with another. To me, that is the peak, the essence of relationships and of our life. That opening of the heart and sharing, even though we don't know anything about it. We're not interested so much in all the facts. How old are you? Where do you live? Where do you get your hair done? How many children do you have? All of those are wonderful. Those are facts. But the communication that streamed was about something else. And it came from another place. We don't have to know those facts for the communication to stream. In Zen, of course, we would call that a koan, a question given to us by the teacher that has no logical or rational answer. But I will say this, and they say this about koans, your life is at stake if you don't answer the koan. My teacher always used to say that to me, answer, your life is at stake. And for many years, I thought, my life is at stake? What are you talking about? But now I know. Me 50 years took to know what he was talking about. And most of what he said, I don't know, but that I know that my life is at stake. If I don't really, because your true life comes with understanding, that streaming communication, that connection, that oneness between all of us, between everyone. It's happening. It's there. We don't let ourselves be aware of it. Or maybe we're preventing it from happening. I don't know. But here on these very special days, I would say that when we have that experience of being heard, being known, being valued, being I, thou, not I, it, not an object, who's being judged, is being thrown around, tossed away, but I vow, everyone, you're precious, everyone. Then we're sitting on the mountaintop, and or we're sitting in the park. It's not like one is higher than another, but we're sitting in a very beautiful place. And that place, hopefully, we can live in our everyday life as well. So I hope this talk has had a little bit of meaning to you. I know when I give these talks, they have a lot of meaning to me. I guess I speak also for myself to remind myself. We have to keep reminding ourselves of what is valuable and beautiful. And then the next step, sharing it. And that makes everything complete. Especially during years or an era where things can look as if they're falling apart, can look as if we're losing the meaning of life. We're not. It can't be lost. It's within us. I vow we are the meaning of life and we cannot lose it. So don't be distracted by what appears to be. And have a beautiful, beautiful day, week, month, everything. Thanks so much for listening. It's a pleasure and joy to be here with you. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.